Are you ready to expand your life and reality? Join us for the next hour with Jamie Bates as she shares life-changing thoughts, techniques, and awarenesses to help you expand your reality.
Hello and welcome. I am Jamie Bates, consciousness facilitator and expander of realities. My mission with my radio show is to create greater awareness of what is possible and to expand you beyond the limitations of this reality. I am grateful that you're joining me today. And today I'm going to just kind of slow it down a bit, just kind of maybe return to the roots here. And I'm just going to share some insight and some information about what it means from my point of view to be an empath or someone who is energetically sensitive. Okay, I'm going to just kind of share information about that. I'm going to talk about why you may have the difficulties that you have and how these conscious empath tools can help you. And so just to clarify, the tools that I share here on my podcast, okay, are all part of my conscious empath system. They're all tools and processes that I have put together, developed, created, and using them in a way that really truly creates new space for you. So if you are a new listener to the show, this is going to be a perfect show for you to really learn about, number one, yourself, how you function in this world, and how these tools in particular can shift and change your life. So I'm going to kind of just be deep diving. And the good news is here is if you listen to this show and you don't resonate to any of the messages that I'm saying here, then you know that this is probably not what you're looking for. You know, oftentimes, and especially the last few weeks, I am just getting bombarded from people messages wanting to know, like, does this sound like someone who would, benefit from the use of your tools? People are lost right now, and I totally 100% get it. I know people are looking for what it is that can really truly help them. So if that's you, if you're here and you're like, I don't know if this is, going to resonate with me, and I get it, we don't want to waste a ton of time and space right now, right? Because it feels like time is of the essence. And if you're feeling like right now, like, oh my gosh, I really need to find something to help me, and I need to find something to help me right this very moment, this show is going to give you insight to if the system that I have developed is going to help you or not. So good news. So, so let's start today first by talking about what it means to be an empath or someone who is energetically sensitive, okay? And so these are from my point of view. I think we all have different points of views about what an empath is. I mean, there is essentially, it means an empath is someone who internalizes information that might not necessarily be theirs. Now, so let's talk about that for a moment. So for me, that means you are always receiving information. Okay. Now, I have been working with people all of my life, really, and really definely the last 20 years of my life, I've had hands-on people. I've been doing readings and helping people. And I will tell you that the one thing that I see most of us have in common is we are continuously receiving information about other people. Now, for me, what that means is it's like you are always aware of everyone and everything. Now, I talk about this a lot, okay? Now, what I feel is, number one, we are a being, okay? We're energy, we're space, and we're consciousness, okay? Without the body, we are just a being. Now, then we have our body. Now, our body is within our being. Our being is not within our body. Now, I know growing up, I learned that my being was inside of my body. I went to church. I was, an avid studier of religion. From a very, very, very young age, I started going to church. I was very curious about, why the world works the way it does, where's the higher power involved here? And I want to say that I was a churchgoer, but I wasn't really grew up in a religious family. Okay, so I was a personal churchgoer. I seeked out religion and I went to church myself. And I was always really confused about the idea that I have this body and I have this little tiny spark of light inside of me that was my being. It always really confused me. And what I what I discovered as I grew up, and I actually studied religion in college as well. I mean, I really have been a studier of religion. I always wanted to really understand what the different modalities said about the higher power, about their God. So I studied lots of different religious concepts as well. And I will say that you know uh, for me, understanding that I am a being first. Okay, first and foremost, I am a being, and then I have this body. Now, my being, that little tiny spark of light inside of me, isn't necessarily my being. There may be a spark of light inside of me, but my being is this big, huge space of energy, space, and consciousness. And then I have this little tiny being inside of it. And, or not being, I'm sorry, this little tiny body inside of it. And my body is here as part of this reality system. Okay. So if I was a being somewhere else, I wouldn't have a body that looks exactly like this. This body is only an earth body, right? And I know many of you, if you are going to align with my tools, you feel this deep inner yearning that potentially you don't really belong here. This isn't really your home planet. Maybe you don't really even understand here. It feels very foreign. And you're tired of being here. And that's very, very, very common. It's a very common feeling. Okay. And let me tell you that for myself, I used to feel that way as well. And that's part of the reason why I feel like I dove into religion, because I really wanted like this deeper knowing, this deeper information of, what am I doing here? Why does this place not make sense to me? And, why is everyone different than I am? And why do I feel so foreign? And, and once I started really playing in this idea that, okay, so maybe I'm not from here. Maybe I came here because I wanted to learn and I wanted to shift and I wanted to grow and I wanted my being, my body, right? Because the thing is when my body dies, I still have a being. So my being came here to play in these concepts in this reality. Just breathe that in for a moment and just sit with that for a second. Just see how that feels for you. Does that make you feel lighter? Does that idea expand you? Does it potentially create a little bit more space in your body? Like, what if you aren't really from here? And what if you just came here to play in the concepts that this reality has to offer? What if you forgot that you were really truly this limitless infinite being? And what if now is the time to remember that? And what if the feelings that you're feeling and the energy and the awareness that you are perceiving going on in the world right now is the time that it's time to wake up. It's time to remember that you are not this small, limited being, but you are here for a big purpose. You came here to do something amazing and huge and wonderful. And what if you've been feeling that yearning your whole life and you feel so lost as to how you're going to create that? Breathe that in for a moment. I'm here to invite you into that space. I'm here to show you that that's possible. I'm here to remind your being that you don't have to be in that limited space of lack and limitation. You can expand beyond the form and structure that keeps looping you back into concepts that you don't like, keeps telling you that you have to be or do something that you don't want to be or do. That sense of urgency that you're feeling within your system is an energy that's telling you that it's time to wake up. It's time to start fully embracing your power as an infinite being. It's time to start really truly diving into what is truly possible for not only yourself, but to be the invitation for others. As an empath, I feel like we are always receiving information from everyone all the time. Okay, we are receivers of information. Our body is always receiving information, right? Your nose smells, your mouth tastes, your eyes see, your ears hear, your skin absorbs. It's always absorbing information, always. This information comes in, and because this reality has taught us how to be internalizers, right? At a very young age, it's always, if you feel something in your body, what's wrong with you, right? How many of us have heard that our whole life? What's wrong with you? There's always something wrong with you, because we are so sensitive, right? So we're always receiving information from everyone all the time. We don't have a filter like other people do. And so oftentimes we can't handle places where there's a lot of people, because that information is running into your body. And you go into a crowd, you go into a mall, you go into somewhere, and instantaneously you're getting overwhelmed because your body is receiving information. What I have found, and what I personally believe, is as empaths, as someone who is this energetically sensitive being, we are always receiving information because we are here to transmute the information. We are here to shift and change the information into something else. But the thing is no one has taught you how to do that. No one has taught you how to shift and change the information into something else. Okay. No one has taught you how to be the receiver of information without making it vital and important, and have to feel like you have to do something about it. And the feeling like you have to constantly do something, like you'll constantly have to save someone from the hell that they're living in, or you have to constantly dive into somebody's emotional problems. You have to bend over backwards. You always have to be this person who's always digging everyone else out. And let me tell you what, the way that you've learned to do that is the way that drains you and creates havoc in your body, and internalizes other people's information. Breathe that in for a moment. You have to learn how to be different in this reality. If you truly want to change your life, if you truly want to be free from that overwhelm and that quickening that you're feeling in your body all of the time, and the resistance to, having more, or, that those balls and chains of lack that you're tied back into, where you can't have and you can't be and you can't choose. It's very common within us empaths, because we have been resisting information so dynamically, right? Because it's painful to know those things all the time about everyone. It's hard. At a very young age, we learned how to start resisting information because it was really hard for us to exist here in this reality at a very young age. Most of us, potentially, you've been through some type of abuse, some type of resistance of your being. And, sometimes people will tell me, I didn't really have like a really traumatic childhood. But oftentimes they'll say something like, my parents were really strict. And you know what? Sometimes I feel like that's just as bad for your system as someone who went through some type of abuse, because in that strictness that you were raised in, you were taught that you can't have what you desire. Okay. And what that concept of you can't have what you desire is again, it's put you in just as much resistance to this reality as someone who has experienced a ton of abuse, because you have decided somewhere inside your little tiny brain when you were young, right? That's what I mean when I say little tiny brain. I mean when you were little. When we were very little, we made a lot of decisions about what it means to be in this reality. And most of us are still functioning from those same decisions, because when we were maybe 3 years old and, we couldn't have a cupcake for dinner, right? We decided that we started deciding these things like we can't ever have what we want. And I know that that sounds like a silly example, but it's very, very true. Okay, from a very young age, when we were always told, no, you can't have that, no, you can't do that, no, you can't be that right now. We started internalizing this feeling of we can't have or be or do anything that we want to have or be or do. And that feeling has carried over from every single age, and then it's been validated by then all of a sudden I'm 10 and I can't have this and I can't do that and I can't choose this and there's not enough money for me to do that, right? And all of a sudden we've boxed ourselves into this reality. And because of our energetic nature, once most of us make a decision, it's really, really hard for our soul to make a different decision. And that's mostly because I think most of the decisions that we made, again, were not cognitive conscious decisions. When you were 3 years old and you decided that no one loved me because I can't have a cupcake, right? It wasn't this conscious decision of, for the rest of my life, I'm going to hold on to this idea that I'm unlovable, right? It wasn't like a conscious knowing. It was like an unconscious decision that you made, and then you stored that as your truth. And because of our energetic nature, then we continue to relive that reality because that's what we have stored as real and true. Okay. So now all of a sudden, you're 46 years old and you've had one bad relationship after another, and you feel like you don't belong here in this reality, and you feel lost, and you don't really enjoy your job, and you feel like you should be some level of happy, but it's not really showing up for you all around you, and you just feel lost and like sort of miserable, but at the same time you don't feel like you should be because there's all kinds of other things going on, and you feel like you should be happy, but you just don't know why you can't get there. And that's because of that old storage of information that you are still aligning with, that is still creating your life. Breathe that in for a moment. And because I've lived there, because I've been in that same exact space, and because I started really truly diving into that area, I was able to change those thoughts, ideas, and information for myself. And now for the past um, at least 10 years, I've been doing work with these specific tools to help other people untangle those same warped ideas that they made of themselves and about who they were and about what they can have and about what they can choose, so they can create something different. And over the really my lifetime of working with others, what I have discovered is really truly we are all very similar. Okay. Now, although we might have different patterns of dysfunction, they all stem from the same area of, again, where we made these unconscious ideas and thoughts and decisions about who we are and what we can have and what we can choose and what we can be and do and all of those things. And we have stored those programs, and I call them programs because that's really truly what they are, because every single time a thought has been validated in your life. And let's take the idea of I can't have. Okay. Now, again, you were 3 years old and your mom said you can't have a cupcake, and you threw a fit and you still didn't get a cupcake, right? And so you started internalizing this feeling of I can't have. Now, I understand that the cupcake idea is a strange concept, but it's true because it's in these little tiny choices when we were young that we made about how people relate to us, that we have stored and internalized, and we have built the foundation of all of these different areas of how we relate to who we are, based on these little tiny choices of, I can't have, I can't have, I can't have, I can't have. And then we built this big foundation of I can't have, and through your life you have stored other instances where, oh yep, look, nope, can't have that, nope, look, can't have that, nope, look, can't have that. And all of a sudden now you have this big huge skyscraper of you can't have, and here you are sitting in your life and you're thinking, I should be further along, or I should have more, or I should, be in this different space, and you're shoulding yourself, because, I get that a lot from people. They're in that space, and I get it, because I've been in that space of shoulding. I should be in a different space right now. And I hear often from people, I've tried everything. I've done, every single modality that has possibly came across for me, and I still cannot change that. And you cannot change that because you have not got to the foundation of where you have decided that belief for yourself, and you have not cleared enough of that form and structure to be able to create your life differently. Okay. And this is for me where these conscious empath tools come in. And I'm going to go back to, the whole reason that I even put all of these tools together, and in the way that I put these tools together, is because I too have been exactly where you are. I too woke up one day and looked around and thought, gosh, this is not how I want my life to be. This is not where I want to live. This is not what I want to be doing. This is not what I want to, be choosing for my life. I too have been in a space where I've felt unlovable and unbelievable, and, in a space where I felt like, this is not the life I want to be living. This is not the life I wanted to choose. I've had traumatic things happen to me where, I dealt with a intense level of heartbreak. Okay, where I thought, gosh, this is never ever how I wanted my life to turn out. I went through in 2007. I went through a very traumatic experience. And that experience was an experience that literally changed everything for me, because I had to figure out how to move on from complete devastation. And I know that most of you who are listening to this radio show have been through a certain level of complete devastation, where where your life as you know it completely changed, whether it was a traumatic divorce, which is what I went through, or a death of someone that you love, or I know a lot of people have dealt with some very, very, very traumatic deaths in their life. And I know that it feels like I can never move beyond this. Take a nice deep breath. And let me tell you that whatever it was that you experienced is always going to be a part of you. Always. But in order to truly move forward and create something different, you have to be able to release a certain level of that trauma, and that like, and when I'm saying trauma, I'm saying that moment when, I remember a time where I felt like, literally, like my heart, the closest I can explain it is, and I feel like if you've been through an experience, a traumatic experience, you feel the same way. Like, I've talked to several people about this, and it felt like my heart had literally like been like razor bladed like 8,000 times. Like, somebody had taken a razor blade and just like put all these little tiny like surface cuts on my heart, and then the skin was just getting like, when you have like a hangnail and you like pull that hangnail back, and it just like exposes that raw skin underneath. It literally felt like somebody had, and maybe this is TMI, you guys, I'm sorry, but I feel like I talk to people about this, and they feel like nobody else has had this experience, like, and like, I'm not saying this to downgrade anybody's experience in any way, shape, or form. I just want people to know that I identify with having that same experience, where it literally felt like someone was just peeling these little tiny hangnail like pieces of skin from the top of my heart all the way down to my heart, like repeatedly all day long. Like, my heart hurt in a way that I could never explain it to someone else. And I feel like if you've been through that type of trauma where you've had that experience, I want you to know that you are safe here with me because I get it. I know what it feels like to go through something that traumatic, and I know how difficult and how impossible it feels to go beyond that feeling. And I know how even, within the next year of that feeling of how much regret and how much guilt and how much shame and how much upset you stay in and recycle, and how much, how hard it is to even reconnect to people after you've gone through something like that, and how, like, the people that experienced it with you, how hard it is to look at them the same, or even to look at them without feeling that heartbreak over and over and over and over. And I know that excuse me, many of you listening to this show right now, you too have been through levels of trauma where you have experienced it with others, and it feels like you're never going to be able to see them without looking at them and feeling bad because they're broken. I know how difficult it is to look at those around you and feel guilty and feel shameful and feel uh, like life is never going to be the same, and like you're never going to be able to recover from this. Take a nice deep breath. And I'm here to tell you that it doesn't matter what you have experienced in your life, you can heal that space of you. You can heal the relationships that you have with the others around you. I'm just going to vortex this energy through for a moment here. You can have something greater show up for you. You do not have to stay in this energy that you've been stuck in for the rest of your life. Breathe that in for a moment. I understand firsthand how hard it is to be as sensitive to energy as you are. And I'm here to tell you right now that I have the tools and the processes and the information and the research. I have been doing the research my whole life, you guys. And I have the information that you require to unlock your being and give you a new space of you. Breathe that in for a moment. It's time. It's time for us to start stepping into our power. It's time for us to stop identifying with this yucky sadness, guilty, shameful feeling. It's time to move forward. It's time to embrace who you came here to be. It's time to step into who you are as the infinite being that you be. So, with all of that being said, the Expand Your Reality podcast has literally over 100 episodes of different concepts, ideas, explanations. Okay, there's literally over 100 podcasts available here for you to listen to and to start untangling and unwinding some of that emotional stuff that you got going on. I've been getting so many messages from people who've just been binging the show, and I love it. I love that I have that resource available to you to be able to start really, truly changing your life. I also have my YouTube channel. So much information, so many resources on there as well. I also have my blog on my website, Jamie, Jamie-Bates, Bates.com. Tons of blogs. There's over 100 blogs there as well with information that is going to unlock your being. That's the thing about these tools that I teach, is it gives you information that expands your being. And once you have that information, it completes something inside of you. And once that thing has been completed, you can move forward and you can move on. And this is what my radio show does. It completes different concepts so you can move forward and move on. Okay. And if you are been listening to my show and you're ready to take the next step, my full conscious empath program, it's called Being the Conscious Empath. It's 11 weeks long. I start a new one. Today actually is September 23rd, 2020. So if you're listening live, you can join us starting on Monday. Okay, I'm going to be launching only for 5 days. It's only going to be open for 5 days. Being the Conscious Empath program. It is 11-week deep dive. Okay, I'm going to teach you step by step how to use the conscious empath tools to heal your life. So if you've been having tons of awarenesses, if you've been listening to my stuff for a little while and you're having tons of awarenesses and you're ready, this program is going to change your life. Okay, we are going to do an 11-week deep dive. You are with me. I am there. I am the leader of the group. We are going to be, I'm going to be checking in with you constantly. Okay, I do a live call every single week in that group, except one. So there's 10 live calls. And then from there, I'm going to be getting on Facebook and doing 2 Facebook Lives a week. So 3 times a week, you are going to get to see me, and I'm going to be there to answer your questions, to lead you down the path of exactly what is going to give you the information that you require to unlock your being. Okay? It's all information, you guys. Once you get the information that you require, you have a massive surge and you start that healing, and it's just a process from there, and you just get better and better and better and better. Okay, I'm going to take you through these tools step by step. I'm going to take you through them in a way that's going to create that unlock in your body that is going to set your life free. So registration starts on Monday and goes all next week. I think I'm closing registration on Friday, so you'll have September 28th through October 2nd to register. If you're here in the US, we will be taking a break the week of Thanksgiving, and we will be done before Christmas. Now, I know if you're in a different country, like especially Canada, which I know a lot of listeners are from Canada, we probably will be in session over your Thanksgiving week. But we will be done before Christmas, before December. I think the actual program actually ends like the week of December 13th. I think that's the last week there. And essentially, what that means is the holidays, by Thanksgiving, you are going to be in a completely different energy space and consciousness, and you are going to be able to relate to your family completely differently. So by Christmas, you're going to be good. You're not even going to be the effect of anybody at Christmas time. Okay, you're going to be able to hang out with your family without feeling like you want to go home and plunge in your eyeballs out. If you've ever felt that way, you know what I'm saying, right? You're going to be able to go home and not feel like you have to sleep for the next week. Okay, because these tools are going to give you the space where you don't have to be the effect of your family any longer. So if you're ready, I would love to have you join me. You can check out information on my website, jamie.bates.com, and you can look up Being the Conscious Empath there on my website. So I hope that I gave you some insight and some information for this week. I really, truly, I just can feel the power. The tribe is coming, you guys. It is such an amazing, powerful time to be alive right now. It's time to heal. It's time to shift. It's time to change. It's time to step into your power. So join me. I would love to have you. Thank you so much for listening to me. Thank you for all of the love and the feedback that I'm receiving. And also know that, I do have my free Facebook group on Facebook, The Conscious Empath. I know I get emails from people all the time. They say, but I'm not on Facebook. Do you have something different? I do have my email. Where I send out periodic updates of what's going on and show information and that kind of stuff. But I know that a lot of people don't like Facebook. I have some people who have joined Facebook just to be in the group, and let me tell you what, it's super contributing. So even if you maybe just want to make a Facebook with a alias and you just want to join us in the group, you are welcome. So again, it's The Conscious Empath on Facebook. My website is jamie.bates.com. Thank you so much for listening to me, and I will talk to you soon. Have a great day.
You have been listening to Expand Your Reality with your host, Jamie Bates. Thank you for listening.